All right, we are live. Let me get this posted to this deal here. Is that going to work? I don't think that's going to work. Let's delete that. You guys can watch me do this live. We're going to delete you. We'll come over to the stream as my kids talk about Bruno, as they say. How? I forget how. Oh, you know what? I'll just open this in another tab. Let me do that. Open. Or is this the share one here? Share. Look at that. Copy link. There we go. I've not done this in a long time, as you can tell. Let's do this. All right. So we are going to go live. We'll go up here, post this in the chat so you can all see it. I'll do it in two places. I'll do it here. And then I will do it in the other chat, the draft check-in chat. Let's see. Has Dukes put up a draft chat one yet? No, he is not. So it's just draft check-in. We'll go there. We'll post this here. All right. So anyway, long story short, anyone who has never seen one of these before, basically what I do is I go through and I try to do a mock draft. With Madden doing a mock this year, it has become a little less relevant, but I was picking at the top of the draft and I had studied a lot of the players. And I said, you know what, let me do another draft. I think I could do one better than the Madden draft. And I don't know that I did better, but we'll give it a whirl. Anyway, first pick overall was initially the Steelers. It was traded to the Falcons. Rodgers went up from, he had 4 and 27. He traded both of those to go up and get the quarterback that he thinks is the QB of the future, Nick Dickinson. Kid 6'1", 22 years old, out of Michigan. The biggest knock on him, if you look at his stuff, is his throw power. It was only listed as decent. He's got the speed, he's got the acceleration, all those other stats you want, and I do believe he had a pre-draft story. So everything else that you could really want in a draft pick is Dickinson has. So I think he's going to be happy with that. 22 years old. You kind of like that guy to be 21, but you're nitpicking at that point. 6'1", 22. He's going 222 pounds. He's not 22 pounds. That would be really hilarious if he was only 22 pounds. I don't think I would have given up on Tim Peoples yet, but I know talking to Rodgers, he said that Peoples is extremely inaccurate, and he just cannot deal with it. It raises his blood pressure and makes him insane. So Nick Dickinson will likely be the first pick in the 2025 draft here in TST, which brings us to me at number 2. I really need to find a pass rusher to replace Carl Lawson. I just don't think I can pass up on this left tackle, Adrian Nance out of Oregon State. He is 22 years old as well. Again, like I said, I prefer it to be 21, but it is what it is. He has great acceleration, elite agility. The speed is solid enough, and he did 36 bench reps, so he will be stronger than my current left tackle, Daryl Mackey, who I will show you here. He's probably going to get shipped. So if anyone is in the market for a left tackle, I've had some suitors talk to me about him, but he will likely be shipped. Daryl Mackey here, going into the last year of his deal, not the strongest, so I think Adrian Nance will be an upgrade over him. As you can see here, the aforementioned Tim Peoples is a 70 overall. He's still only 23. Had that 1 year. And here you got the 85 speed, 87 acceleration, and then the 94 throw power. So he's got a really good combo of that. But the Falcons are giving up on him for Dickinson. I'm going to take the left tackle, Adrian Nance, which brings us to our first computer pick. And I think that they were going to go quarterback in the initial mock, so I just gave them the next quarterback listed, which was Jack Baker out of Texas A&M. No need to spend any more time on the computer after that, which brings us to the Steelers, who traded from 1 down to 4, and I think we'll get one of the best quarterbacks in the draft that we've seen in a while. Brad Mason, 21 years old, out of Louisville, 6'5", 230, has that elite or great throw power. I apologize. Elite strength, but great throw power. One of the more intriguing things about him was, even though he's 6'5", he ran a 4.63 40 at his pro day. So he's fast. Doesn't have the acceleration. It's only listed as marginal. And if you look at his 3-cone and his 20-yard shuttle, you kind of see why. But for a guy who's 6'5" with great throw power and elite strength, it's very rare that you see them have those under 4.9 40s, and he's got a 4.63. So I do think the Steelers will be very happy to select Brad Mason out of Louisville. Which brings us to the Raiders. The Raiders have a few holes. Let me go back to the Steelers here. I'm going to keep them up because they do have another pick, but you can see their quarterback room is just not great. They have Sam Abrams, 23 years old, 67 overall. Zach McDaniel, 22 years old, 62 overall. They need a quarterback more than they need anything else. The Raiders are actually pretty well set up, but Trayvon Mooring and Jonathan Abram are both starting to age a little bit and have never really met their potential. Everywhere else, I think the Raiders can kind of get by. They could probably use another middle linebacker. I just think it's a little too early there to go after any of the middle linebackers or even any really 4-3 linebacker. They could use another guy across from Max Crosby because Ngakoue is getting a little old. The D tackle, same deal. They're not great and they're old, but there's just no one there that fits that need. So what I think they will do is they will go ahead and go after this year's, safety du jour, the Laron Landry, that just crazy athletic Mitch Truman out of University of South Florida. This kid ran a 4.440, elite acceleration, elite speed, good strength. He did 20 bench reps, almost under 4 seconds in the 20-yard shuttle, 6.68 in the 3-cone drill. Just a phenomenal athlete, and nothing says the Raiders like drafting a phenomenal athlete out of the draft. The quarterbacks, the run-on quarterbacks, I think is going to be fast and furious, especially with a few computer teams at the top. In the most recent mock draft that just came out, let's see, mock draft 5, the Packers are indeed going. Brad Mason, I have him going to the Steelers, which puts the Packers with Dan Sheehan, who is, again, one of the top 5 pick, 21 years old, 6'2", 229 out of Florida. Doesn't have the greatest throw power, only decent throw power, but again, ran under 4.8, so he's got elite change of direction. He's a very good all-around quarterback, and I do think that is where the computer will go. We have the new OKC Best, I believe, is what he goes by in the Discord. I believe his first pick, he seems, just based on some of these mock drafts, like it kind of shows you who guys have slotted where. It looks like he definitely likes speed. The mock draft has him getting Mitch Truman. I think he'll be gone. If he's not, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Colts go with Truman. However, I do have him taking Rashawn Hamilton, the cornerback out of Notre Dame, 22 years old, 5'10", ran a 4.42 at the combine, 4.36 at his pro day. Elite acceleration, good enough speed to get by, and he's a bigger guy. He's not like one of those 5'8" slot corners. He's a full 5'10". So I do think Rashawn Hamilton will likely be the pick if Truman is gone, that is, obviously. So let's see here. If we're down here, you got Jonathan Taylor, you got Michael Gallup. They could use a wide receiver. I just don't know that they reach there. Josh Sweat is fine. He was just signed in free agency, I do believe. Kwity Paye, again, fine. Their middle linebackers or their 4-3 inside linebackers are getting a little bit old. Darius Leonard, 30. Bobby Okereke, 29. Kenny Moore, Kadeem Carruthers, really good corners. Moore's getting older, and on the back end, you could see why he's kind of looking to go after Truman to pair with Hufnaga, who he just got in free agency as well. But I think he will go for Kenny Moore's replacement and take Rashawn Hamilton there over anyone else as long as Truman is gone. The Chargers, it's a computer pick. I believe they've had them listed as Deontay Thompson now for the last 4 mock drafts, so there's no need to waste any time with that. Brings us to the Eagles. West has been gone for a little bit. I don't know if he's drafting or not. It has him listed as Garrison Swain, the big wide receiver out of UCLA. The kid can move. He's really, really good. I don't know that they'll be able to do that, though. I think he's going to need some O-line help. He's only got 1 left tackle, 1 right guard, and 2 right tackles currently on his roster. This was before the last, so I don't know what he signed in free agency in that last little bit, but he really needs a lot of offensive line help. So I have him going with Marquis Werner, the marquee pick, 21 years old, 6'6", 330, out of Georgia, to kind of just give him any O-line help, and that is much needed because, as you saw, the Eagles do not have a ton of, I don't even know why I have the Chargers here anymore. They're done. We're done with the Eagles, and that brings us to the Titans, who I do believe also have a new user, ASAP Bracky. They've got a pretty solid O-line. I mean, they got Tristan Wirfs. They've got Shaq Mason. They got Oliver Griffin, younger, 75 rated already. Nate Davis. So I don't really foresee them going to the O-line. Could be a quarterback here if there's any left, but all the quarterbacks have already been taken in this mock. There's just no one left for them to get. Tevin Perkins will be the guy, I do believe, for them. He's just a nice edge rusher. Granted, they're getting a little older at receiver. They could take a receiver, but it could be that Garrison Swain kid, if he's still available and doesn't go to the Eagles, could very well be him. There's another first-round wide receiver who we'll talk about later, Ben Weaver. He's a speedster, so it could be him. However, I think they're going to have to get something down there in the trench. They got Leonard Williams, they got Jeffrey Simmons, and that's about it. And they're both getting older as we speak. So I do think the pick for the Titans will be Tevin Perkins out of Georgia, which brings us to the aforementioned Ben Weaver. He's been slotted to the Colts in the last 2 mocks. Clearly the Colts user really wants speedsters. I believe Weaver ran a 4.3 40, something in that range. Yeah, 4.32 at the pro day, 4.35 at the combine. Elite acceleration, great speed. He's a speedster. He's not a little small guy either. He's 5'11". He's only 177, and he is 23 years old. So that kind of hurts the development a little bit. And at 177, you got to think he's going to get hurt, but you got to catch him first. And it's hard to stop that speed. And if you look at the Colts wide receiver room, where did I have them? Let's see. Steelers, I need to keep up because you got another pick. The wide receivers on the Colts here. We have Michael Gallup, 29 years old, 85. Jerry McDonald, 26 years old, 83. And all of them have decent speed, but none of them have that crazy speed except for this Haskins kid. And I do believe that adding Ben Weaver to that, to take the top off of the defense will be huge for that Colts team. I do believe that ends them, so we can put that there. The Bucs are a computer pick. They have right now, they're Tevin Perkins, but I have him going already. So I gave them the next best end, and I gave them Johnny Rodgers, which brings us to the Jaguars, who I went Garrison Swain. They've got some aging wide receivers too. It's kind of hard to think about, they got Beckham Jr. DJ Chark doesn't seem old in real life, but he's 28 now in our sim. Devontae Parker's 32, so they've got some real issues. Got to have someone for Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball to. And I do think it'll be Garrison Swain, the giant 6'5" wide receiver out of UCLA, 22 years old, ran a 4.47 at the pro day, and his speed's listed as good. So you kind of like to pair those up. If the speed says, let's say the speed said marginal, and he ran a 4.47, you'd kind of have some hesitation. But as long as you get the good or the great, and you see that 4.4, you got to think they're going to be above an 88, in that 88 to 92 range. Maybe it'd be a little less than that, but I can't imagine his speed being less than 88. And at 6'5", that's really all you need. Throw it up to him. Go get it. Because not many wide receivers go get it in Madden unless they're above that, 6'3", 6'4" range. So that would be a great get for the Jaguars to give someone, Trevor Lawrence another weapon. The Bills, always a contender. They lost Josh Allen late last year, and it really derailed their season. Typically, they're an AFC Championship Super Bowl contending team. However, without Josh Allen, I believe they lost in the first round to the Texans, who then almost knocked me out the next round. I got very lucky with a punt return touchdown. So the Texans are really on the come up, and the Bills, as long as they have Josh Allen, are always going to be a hard out. They just lost Deion Dawkins in free agency. So I think they're going to go with a left tackle here. The mock draft has them taking a middle linebacker. I don't think they would do that this early. They very well may, but they've got some really good 4-3 LBs, and let me see if I can find, there it is, Stephon Diggs. He's fun to play against, but they've got Connor Bass, an 88 overall, Tremaine Edmonds, a 95 overall, Rashawn Garvin, an 82 overall. So they've got some really good linebackers. I don't see them needing to go ahead and take a stretch on him. Most of their OLBs are more of the pass rush variety, but he kind of plays this hybrid kind of defense, so they do drop in coverage some. So it probably wouldn't hurt to get him somebody to help out Tremaine Edmonds in those nickel sets, because as you can see, the other guy had the 85 finesse moves. Connor Bass has 95 finesse moves. So he runs that more of that, hybrid D where the OLBs are coming off the edge, and then you get AJ Epinesa on the inside with Ed Oliver, and it really kind of mucks things up. I do think he's going to try to get someone bigger for that, Epinesa role later, but I think first here he'll go Dontrell Winter. He very well may go middle linebacker, and that would probably be Johnson or Fenderson. Right now, I still am sticking with Dontrell Winter. He slides right into Deion Dawkins' spot that he left there. The Broncos, They too are aging along the D line or the O line. I apologize. Well, they're aging along the D line too. They've got Draymond Jones, who's 28. They've got Matthew Barrett, who's 25, so good for him. Chris Jones, who's 31. DeMarcus Lawrence, who's 33. So they have some older folks along that D line. I do think, though, they need to focus on the O-line and the interior O-line where they got Dalton Risner. He's 30, 81, regressing, and that's why I think they'll go with one of the better guards in this draft, Josh Whitaker, the 23-year-old out of Michigan. He is a solid prospect. I believe he is, let me see here. No, I didn't want to do mock drafts. I wanted to go to prospects. He's the right guard, the top right guard rated, according to Madden, and he is a solid round 1 selection. So he's not like a round 1, round 2. The biggest knock on him, again, is going to be the fact that he's 23 years old. If you look at all of his stats, he's in pretty much the top 10 in all of them except for his vertical jump and his broad jump. So the guy can't jump. Other than that, he does everything that you want him to do, and I think he would really, really help the Broncos out on their interior line there. Chris McGee is who I have going 16 to the Seahawks. The Seahawks in the mock drafts have, let's see, they have Johnny Rodgers, but I kind of have him gone already with just the way the computer drafts fell. I have him gone to the Bucks, so that would give them the next end would be Chris McGee. He's a monster, 267. He's got a really good speed. I believe it was like a 4.5 40 or something like that for an end. So a really good get there for a computer team. Don't need to waste much time on them. The Cardinals, who I believe just picked up a new old user, Jay. They have a really solid team. They just stole Amari Cooper from me. They got Will Fuller. So they could go, for a wide receiver here. I just don't. There was none that fit with both Swain and the Ben Weaver kid gone. They have to be a first or second rounder for me to put him in this mock, and there wasn't anybody left. So if you look here, they got Teron Armstead. They don't really have a ton of other great offensive linemen, whether it's Larry Skinner, the right guard at 25, the center, Tanner Riddle, 25. He's only 69. Left guard, 24, 79. So that's better for Greg Logan. But I just think they need to take Christian Campbell, get somebody along that O-line and shift him around, whether he plays guard, whether he plays right tackle, whatever it is, they need to get him so that they can get some other people moving on that O-line, because their O-line is struggling, especially on the interior. Brings us to the Giants, who've really been kind of a slow build this draft so far. They are, doing it the old-fashioned way through the draft, trying to make some trades. They traded Daniel Jones for Mac Jones. I believe Mac Jones is their quarterback right now. And where I think they're going to go is to cornerback Doug Bassnight. And the reason I think that is because they've got some aging guys there. There's the Cardinals, so this should be the Giants. There we go. Yeah, they got Azeez Ojulari. They could probably try to get someone because Christian Wilkins is not exactly a great edge threat. He's more of your interior guy. But if you look here at the cornerbacks, 32 years old, 83, 29 years old, 83. They did just get Emmanuel Wheaton last year in the first round and hit it out of the park. He's 22. He's 79 overall already. So you got to think if they go with Doug Bassnight, this kid is tall. He's fast. He's 21 years old. I want to say he's like 6'3", and he ran like a 4.3 40, but let me confirm that. He is indeed 6'3", 4.3, 240 at the combine, 4.31 at the pro day, and he is only 21 years old. He's not quite as heavy as you would like for 6'3". You'd like him probably closer to 200 pounds. He's only 180 pounds, but this kid is going to be a menace on the outside. Put him in man coverage, put him in zone coverage, doesn't matter. He's that tall, he's that fast. Let him do whatever he wants, and Bassnight will be a monster for the Giants for years to come. Kind of trying to fly through this. I got like 15 minutes left here. Terrence Craig, computer. Don't really need to say much about that. The Bengals, I am not certain if this is going to be the pick that RK forfeits or not, but I just put Anton Sims there because he does need some help along the why am I getting lost here? All right, Bill still has another pick, so we'll keep that up. Yeah. So this is the Bengals. They have James Bradbury, 32 and 85. Chidobe Awuzie, 30 and 79. So they need cornerback help really, really badly, and Sims would be the guy if this is a pick. I don't know if it's going to be Sims or not, but that would be the pick. Mowgli has been, kind of MIA. He's been super duper busy with stuff. I think they could use a wide receiver, but again, once those first two are gone with round 1, round 2 grades, I didn't have anyone else I could put. So if you look at this interior line, he's kind of slim here. Left guard, only 66, 25 years old. This kid, Isaiah Creighton's pretty good, 24 and 72, but he really needs some interior help. So I gave him Peter Kirkland out of Arkansas, the right guard, who could probably play left guard just fine. Again, 22 years old. I want to say he was the second-rated right guard out of Arkansas in this draft. So, shoring up that interior of the O-line. The Dewberry, who was the Chargers and is now the Washington football team, I gave him a left tackle, not because he needed a left tackle, but if he wants to go with Isaiah Gilchrist, that's fine. But he's 23, only a 67. I think if you get a guy like Kelvin Thompson out of South Carolina, he could definitely play on the right side. And if he ends up better than your left tackle, great. Then you just shift him over to the left tackle. A lot of offensive linemen here. It's been a trend that it looks like our teams have progressed everywhere but the O-line. It's very rare on any other position you see 70s starting. Like, you would be shocked to see a 70 defensive end starting. But it's routine that all of us pretty much have 77, 76, 78 starting at the O-line. So I do think that we'll see some guys kind of start to focus and rely more on the O-line in the draft. And I have the Washington football team going with Kelvin Thompson there, the left tackle out of South Carolina. Keeping with the offensive line theme here, we have the Panthers, who have seemed to play really, really well in the regular season, then fizzle out in the playoffs, going again because they got Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. His doctor days are over. He's 69 overall. They got Taylor Moton, 85 overall, but he's 31. They got David Bakhtiari in free agency, but he's 33. So just get somebody on that O-line. Ted LeClaire is that guy, 21 years old out of Washington State. Might be a little bit of a reach at 23, but it fills a need, and I do think that the Panthers could do well there to go ahead and get themselves a great player with that first. I think that brings us to the Bears. I think the Bears are – no, it's not the Bears. It's the Bills. The Bears are 25th. The Bills are 24th, which I have them, like I said, going after another, like a true edge guy who's kind of big enough to play on that inside. 270, 268, 270. I think he can go with Epineza and be more of a true edge guy than Epineza. Now, Epineza really plays that 3-4 interior because the Bills do play a more kind of hybrid 3-4 defense, but I think he could fit well and then wreak a lot of havoc with Connor Bass and Garvin, and then heaven forbid one of them gets hurt, so you have a backup. However, don't be surprised if one of these two Bills picks is a middle linebacker. He needs a middle linebacker to run with Tremaine Edmonds. I think maybe he could wait till the second round, or I don't know what his second round pick situation is, but do not be surprised if one of the first two picks that the Bills make is a middle linebacker. I just kind of see them going more along the D line to shore that up. However, who knows? You never, ever do know. The Bears, the defending Super Bowl champions, the rich get richer here. They've got a pretty good running back in David Montgomery. He's just not a game breaker. He's got 89 speed, 90 acceleration. Everything else he does really well. His trucking is 86. His carry's 96. Stiff arm, spin move, everything's above an 80. Juke move a 90. Change of direction, 87. But he's just not really a game breaker, and they don't really have that game breaker on the roster. I think they go ahead and draft, or try to draft, that game breaker in Benjamin Yankee out of Auburn. Age is an issue. He's 23, but with running backs, you're only using them for 3 or 4 years anyway and getting rid of them. So who cares if they're 21 or 23? After that third or fourth year, they're gone. So Benjamin Yankee is the pick for the defending Super Bowl champions. The Chiefs, they're another team who I don't think have enough offensive linemen to even field a roster. Yeah, they got one left tackle, one left guard, one right guard, and two right tackles. So they just need offensive linemen. This kid that I put is a left tackle, but he can easily play right tackle. So they just need someone to play offensive line, and Elton Fredrickson was the best one available. 21 years old. Got to love that, out of Colorado. The Steelers, with the second of their two picks, they're old in the interior. They are very, very old. They still have, Cameron Hayward, who's 36. They still have Stephon Tuitt, who's 32. So even if this kid they draft, Ben Morris, the D tackle out of Missouri, doesn't end up playing D tackle, maybe he'll play end, right? And I think this is where you'll see a run of those interior linemen. Dukes may have given away a little bit of the game here, because in the most recent mock draft, I believe he has some center from way down in the draft listed as as his pick. There's a couple weird picks. So the one weird pick is Corey McLaughlin, round 2, round 3, and that's the center out of Notre Dame, and Dukes has him listed. And then the other one was the Steelers, actually. I think he was trying to throw some people off the scent, but he has Andrew Batten, who's round 2, round 3. As his fourth pick, a halfback. I doubt he's going to pick Andrew Batten, number 4 overall. And I don't know that Dukes would really, in theory, pick the McLaughlin kid. But those are the two that really stood out when you go through the computer's mock draft of who people have been, liking and hearting and things like that. Dukes does love his interior linemen, whether they're offense or defense. McLaughlin did not fit the Bills because he's round 2, round 3. For my, criteria, they got to be round 1, round 2 selection. So I went with Nathan Cloud, 6'4", 315, 22 years old, out of Alabama. Size-speed combination is very rare. Put him next to Javon Kinlaw and watch the hell out. He's listed as a right end, but he could definitely play D-tackle, no doubt about it, even in a 3-4. It doesn't have to be a 4-3, but if you put him in a 4-3, obviously, in a 3-4, he's 315. He's heavy enough to play that central position, Which brings us to another D tackle. You go to Diddy, Dukes' brother, and I have him going with Nazir Beckham. Ben Morris, who he has in the computer draft, is off the board. The computer has him selecting Ben Morris, the D tackle out of Missouri. I have him going to the Steelers. So another AFC North team takes an interior lineman. This Beckham kid looks like he's legit, full 300 pounds, 23 years old. Not, again, you don't like to see the 23 and 24-year-olds, but somebody's got to select him because this kid is talented, and the Browns really have a good team, but they're just really light up the middle. Like their middle linebackers, Taj Logan, Josh Foster, 74, 72 overall, and then their D tackles, 79, 72 overall. So Chauncey Johnson, not bad, but I do believe you could do much better, and you would do much better by drafting Nazir Beckham. Brings us to the first middle linebacker, who probably won't be the first middle linebacker, Ronnie Fenderson. I believe Fenderson or Johnson will be on the Bills, but Ronnie Fenderson goes here to the Lions. The Lions don't have a ton of holes on their roster, but they don't have a lot of linebackers, period. They got Trevin Short, Aaron Paul, Jamal Blackburn, Jamian Sherwood, and really of them, 2 of them should be playing, and only 1 should really be starting, and that's Short. So give the Lions a linebacker. Whichever one the Bills don't select, the Lions will probably take that one. I really need an edge guy. This Marquand Galloway kid is a bit of a tweener, but he is probably the best bet that I have here. He's a little bit of a 4-3, outside linebacker, and a 3-4 outside linebacker where he can get out. He's like a shittier version of Micah Parsons. He's not really someone you want on the inside on passing downs because he's not that great, and he's not the greatest at getting after the quarterback either on passing downs. So he's going to be a tweener. I don't know that I'll end up picking him, but he fit the criteria. He fit a need, so he gets slotted there, which brings us to the final pick in the first round, Braden Parsons. I know the Bears was talking about needing 3-4 help, and Parsons has a rare combo of size and speed. Him and Nathan Cloud in this draft are both really solid prospects for that 3-4 kind of, or even a 4-3 D tackle. Let me see what Braden Parsons did at the combine. He's 309 pounds, 6'5", 21 years old, out of Michigan State, ran a 4.66 40 at his pro day, and put up over 30 bench reps. So anytime you're under 4'8" and over 30 bench reps as a quote-unquote 3-4 end or a 4-3 tackle, you are going to be a monster and hard to deal with. Curious to see how all, the block shedding, the finesse moves, the power moves. Is he a power move guy? Is he a finesse move guy? Is he a run stopper? I guess we will find all that out as this all plays out in the next about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. Sorry that I blitzed through that as fast as I could. I wanted to spend a little more time on it, but I took the time to make the list. Figured I'd do the friggin' thing. Thank you all. This has been fun. I'm going to end the stream now.